I did want to introduce this other idea that thinking about the apocalypse and the end of the world, which is kind of important in a lot of literature on the apocalypse, is this idea of the hopeful monster. And that the reason the hopeful monster is important is it ties in with the idea of apocalypse, right? So we're imagining this apocalypse not as a boom event. The apocalypse, as I wrote something down, a slow motion apocalypse, right? And you suggested this earlier, that it's not, because you talked about healing the breach, right? And healing the breach is not a destruction. It's not widening the breach and getting rid of. So it's apocalypse as a transformation, right? A work in progress in which change is constantly going on and being incorporated. And that's where I said sort of that friction comes in. And there's I think she's Canadian writer, Jessica Langer. I'm probably wrong. I'm sorry. Not that there's anything wrong with it. They described an apocalypse, or connects this idea of the hopeful monster with the apocalypse. And the original hopeful, I mean, this is an important image in science fiction. This hopeful monster goes all the way back to Frankenstein.
It kind of defines science fiction in a lot of ways.
It's one of those defining ideas within science fiction. And like the first science fiction novel by many is considered to be Frankenstein, who is this hopeful monster. And the hopeful monster is like this new life form, right? It's something new. It arises out of a breakdown, and it's scary. It's not necessarily evil.
No.
But it's also full of possibility. And one term that is used for this sometimes academically is this idea of the hybrid, right? So, and the thing about the hybrid, and I mean, I think that the best example of a hybrid I can think of here in Wheatland is the mule. Right? So that a hybrid is, it's a horse and a donkey, right?
Yeah, which are not actually closely related enough to interbreed. Except they do. So a horse and a donkey, but the thing is that a mule is neither a horse nor a donkey. It's its own thing. It's faster than a donkey, stronger than a horse.
Yes, and more stubborn than both of them combined. There's a real, anyway, I don't want to get distracted by mules because, this idea, and so the idea of the hybrid, a hopeful monster, what's monstrous in this world, is this sense that what is created out of this transformation of the old world into something new is like a mule. Right? It's not the end of horses. It's the end of mules because there's only one.
But it's this new thing that did not exist in the world because these two things are somehow brought together.
Yes.
Yeah. And so as the old world passes away, that out of that death arises this new thing, which is not fully new world yet, but it's working on it.
Yes. So thinking about this hopeful monster pops up in all sorts of, again, it's very common, androids.
Sure.
The alien hybrids, the alien transformations. If you've read any future fiction,
all of those
some version of the hopeful monster, the hybrid, shows up in it, particularly contemporary fiction.
Well, I was going to say, even Robbie the Robot in Forbidden Planet. Even the mule in Foundation.
Yes.
Right. So there's all these things about this. The destruction of the old world leads to this new thing.
And that's part of the thing, is that what happens is that the hopeful monster is malformed out of this world, right? So this world creates this abomination, but that abomination is the thing that makes it possible for it to exist in the new world. Right. So the hopeful offspring is really kind of the offspring. Hopeful monster is the offspring of the apocalypse, right? So it's scary, right? Because it doesn't fit in this world, and it also sort of promises the next world, but it's not. But it doesn't destroy this world, right? And sometimes in science fiction, it's like, oh, it's the thing that destroys the world. It's like, no.
So when I said Forbidden Planet, I was thinking the monster that comes and destroys. We're not talking about that.
Right.
We're talking more Star Trek Next Generation Data.
Yeah. And all these laws that get passed,
to try to deal with it. Is he real? Is he human? Is he
further down the line, we also have, it's out, that synthetics are outlawed, blah, blah, blah. And you have that, I'm thinking of
Dune outlaws the computer in the image of a man, that sort of thing.
Yes. So you have certain things when people are outlawed. What I'm thinking of is synths. in Synths. It was written by Philip K. Dick, and then I can't even remember, Harrison Ford.
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which became Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Did you know that Philip Dick and Ursula Le Guin went to high school together in Berkeley?
I did not know that.
Boom! Mind blown.
I'm not surprised now that you said it, but yeah.
Yep. They were both Berkeley High students at the same time. Anyway, that's a bit of a digression. This, you have these, are they human? Are they not human? The hybrid, right? And they're scary, and typically in these novels they're outlawed, right? Because they're considered to be dangerous.
And because they're dangerous to the old world.
They're dangerous to the old world. So again, they don't actually destroy the old world. The old world is destroying itself. They are what emerges from the ashes of the old world and represent the hope of the new world. Much like, dare I say it, the shoot of Jesse, right? And
because that is again an image of everything has been destroyed in Babylonian exile. Everything is wrong.
But out of the ashes of everything that has been destroyed, this shoot pops up.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, why the hopeful monster is a helpful metaphor for thinking about a Christian apocalypse, right? Because it describes a creative transformation of what was deemed to be dead. It's not dead, it's destroyed, right? So think of Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower, where you have this world that's literally burning, right? And what does she do? Well, she goes on a pilgrimage, right? And I always love the image of walking up an empty I-5. Every time I drive up and down I-5, I would think of that driving, what would it be like? And I got to see it during COVID.
Oh, did you?
Empty
Another
freeway.
apocalypse.
An empty freeway. So the emptiness of the old world. So walking north to freedom, another image that keeps popping up in science fiction. But yeah, so you have this transformation of what is old, right? So the hopeful monster does not destroy the old world. It emerges from the ashes of the old world. So when we think about apocalypse, I think this is a vision of apocalypse, right? And I think it's consistent with the vision when we say Christ has died, Christ has risen, Christ will come again. We're in that middle part, right? And God has promised that God will not destroy this world again.
Right.
Right? And so what we have is this idea that, creation is not going to be erased again. God will make all things new within creation.
Yeah.
And that to me is that newness out of the ashes of creation, right? Is kind of, and I had just a couple of things from the text, the text.
Almost like that's important somehow.
Right, but your idea of restoring the breach and this idea of not being destruction, right? That I already mentioned Isaiah, right? The shoot of Jesse emerges from within the stump, and I see this all the time when I'm out walking the dog, right? There'll be a downed tree, right? A rotted old tree falls down, and what do you have? You have all these new trees popping out of the nutrients of the old tree. That tree's not dead. That tree is new life, right? A different tree. Romans, rain falling on mown grass, right? The grass has been mown down, but the rain falls, and we all know that grass is still growing, and you got to mow it again, right? So this new shoot emerging, right? Cooperation with God's ongoing and transforming world. Romans. I mean, the Roman community is that hybrid community, right? It is Jews and Gentiles together, right?
Ooh.
Holding it in tension. It's a hybrid community, which is this idea that the church itself, I'm getting so excited. The church itself is a hopeful monster, right? That the church itself is the new community that emerges out of the ashes of the old world and is in the process, right? Because the church is an apocalyptic community to the extent that it embodies these new values in the ashes of the old world.
So we are an apocalypse.
We are an apocalypse.
Ooh.
Right?
I'm not sure if I want to be an apocalypse.
I don't think you have a choice. I mean, back to last week.
Well, there is a choice, and
that's
to leave the church.
No, the apocalypse is coming.
Yeah.
The question is whether you're the old world or the new world.
Or the hybrid somewhere in between.
But the new world is the hybrid, right?
Yeah,
it's the mule.
Yeah.
I don't know where I want to go with that analogy, right?
So we may want to cut some of this analogy because we're torturing it a little bit.
But I think that but what that analogy emphasizes for me is that too often we think of the new world is a break from the old, or the old world has to be destroyed. It
has to be completely removed from everything. There's no part of it that will be recognizable.
Yeah, we're just going to kill all the donkeys and we'll only have horses.
It's almost kind of like smashing the plate and then using those pieces to make a mosaic.
Yeah. Or a tree falls and it's dead, and it dies. And think of the decay, right?
Oh, yeah.
A tree falls over because it's dead, it's decayed, it's rotted, it goes, that's this world.
It's kind of
And the new world is not going to be a tree over on the other side of the prairie. The new world emerges from the ashes of the old world.
And to a tree,
or the rotted corpse.
The fungus that grows out of that is a monster.
Yeah.
Because it consumes this dead body, but it becomes something.
Only if you're attached to that old dead tree.
Yeah.
And so this is why I say you don't really have a choice. I mean, this is part of what this last week is. Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but it's coming, right? The end of the old world, this tree is rotting.
Yeah.
And it's going to fall.
So what can we grow out of the new?
Yes. So we have to, so that's one vision of that sort of apocalypse, but then I'm sort of back to this idea that what we have to do, we can't just use this abstract, the tree, shoot Jesse, whatever, that we need to be able to articulate a world in which loving your neighbor makes sense. We don't live in that world.
Yeah. A world where the first thing you choose to do is to help somebody in trouble rather than to go, oh boy, I hope they didn't see me.
Yeah. A world in which kindness makes sense. A world in which justice makes sense, right?
Back to the story we told last week about, what was it, helping the guy at the well, because I had my own experience of it last night, which we won't get into. But that moment of the guy at the rest stop, where you want to exist in a world where helping him would have been the first thing, not the, oh God, do I have to do this thing.
Yeah. And we don't live in that world because we live in a world in which when you help someone, it can be dangerous.
It becomes an attachment.
Yeah, but it can also be dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason women don't pick up male hitchhikers, right? It's not because...
And it's a valid reason.
It's a valid reason. But living in a world in which being kind to your neighbor makes sense. And this is, and I think that we long for that world, which is one of the reasons why I think things like Star Trek, are so compelling.
Yeah.
Right? Because Star Trek is attempting to describe a world in which certain values make sense.
In particular, things like honor and kindness and love and
respect. Mutual respect.
Yeah.
And openness, right?
Yeah. A willingness to learn from each other.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is what John the Baptist shows up and says, time to prepare, get ready.
Get ready. And then our job is to try to describe, instead of going, oh my gosh.
Get ready is not really enough tools. We need to actually have tools.
What are you getting ready for? Mm-hmm. But not just getting ready for, the only way to be hopeful. I think the only way to be hopeful about this new world to come is one, to learn how to let go of this world when you are so comfortable in it.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just gonna guess right now if I went to Darfur or Gaza and said, apocalypse is coming, they'd be, what do you mean coming?
Yeah.
The old world is over, right? They're looking forward to that hopeful future. It's not gonna get any worse for them.
No.
Right? For us, we got a whole lot of way to go before we hit bottom.
Yeah.
Right? Before we're excited about what the end of the world can mean. Yeah. And I think that it is important for the church to articulate that vision.
And so one of these tools is these narratives, these stories.
Yes.
And that story is not just the stories of Star Trek and whatever else. It is the story of the gospel where Jesus goes around and is kind to people. Jesus goes around and helps people. Story. And his disciples in the rest of the story and his apostles continue to do that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Into the book of Acts where they start, you need food, here you go.
Here you go.
We will hold all of our stuff together so that if somebody has a need, we take care of it. We don't worry.
New York.
Let's not wander too close to that hot wire.
Sorry.
It's shocking that this is somehow controversial, right?
Yeah, it's shocking that the idea that we should care for one another. But again, the reason it's shocking is because we do not live in a world in which being generous and kind to the poor makes sense. We live in a world, right, in which our tax dollars should not go to help children who are starving, right? Because next thing you know, they'll want to eat, right? So we don't live in that world, and we could. We could. The reason we don't live in that world is because we choose not to.
Yeah. So we need to
reorient our values.
We need to do the exercise. And that exercise is speculating. What would it look like to live in that world so that we can then work to make it about, right?
Yes.
This is the story about, the people who built these electric lights. They went to work in a place built that was lit with candlelight. You have to work in the old world to produce the new world.
Yeah, but you have to find, well, this is another distraction, but you do have to, I mean, how, and this is where I'm back to fiction and storytelling, right? Because our capacity, this is back to how do you understand the peace that passes all understanding, right? You tell a story.
Yeah.
And so let me tell you that story.
Here's the
2,000 years
story.
ago, there was a baby.
Yeah.
And that baby was born,
Under
in
oppression.
Bethlehem. And
Yeah.
and then go on and here's the Bible, here's the story. Let me read the story about the peace that passes all understanding. And that story is not done. That story lives on today in each community, struggling to embody that thing which is beyond understanding.
So we're coming to this conclusion that peace is about embodying the peace that we hope to see.
Yes, and the justice that
It is
we
about
hope to see.
embodying justice. It is not just about understanding it, it's living it.
Yes.
Oof.
Yes. Because otherwise, why would I believe you?
Yeah.
Because I live in this world. I know that, and I'm constantly muttering under my breath, no good deed goes unpunished. Right? If you open the door for someone, they'll let it slam in your face.
Yeah.
And they'll get the last piece of bread or whatever. Right?
The person that you let in will grab the last thing that you wanted from the store.
I know, I'm not gonna let them in.
Yeah.
I'll blow my way to the front. So, that was this week, and I meant to have next week's handy, but see, you very cleverly have the,
So next week is Isaiah 35, which is the royal road.
Yep.
The dry land shall be glad, the desert shall rejoice and blossom, and the waters breaking forth in the desert.
Yes, and then what's our main theme?
Our main theme is preparing for the new world. No, that's not right. We'll cut that out.
What's the candle?
The main theme for next week will be joy, because
Joy.
third week is always that pink candle.
Right.
And we can argue whether the other candles are purple or blue, but the third one is pink,
It's
and
pink.
it is joy. Which joy is hard to find in an apocalypse, I think.
Let's work on it.
We'll talk about that one.
What's the candle?
The main theme for next week will be joy, because
Joy.
third week is always that pink candle.
Right.
And we can argue whether the other candles are purple or blue, but the third one is pink,
It's
and
pink.
it is joy. Which joy is hard to find in an apocalypse, I think.
Let's work on it.
We'll talk about that one.
Next week.
Yeah.
And outro.
All right.